once you're at OpenAI and you discover you have this opportunity to be working on GPT-3, that must have been amazing. But you also, while you were there, you worked specifically on the OpenAI API that allows people outside of the organization to access GPT-3. So how is having an API interface like this useful to people, and how can they access it?
Yeah, so the idea of the API is that people who maybe don't have the expertise with building these systems or just don't have the resources to build models like this are able to kind of easily benefit from the technology. And so it was designed to be sort of a very simple interface where you can interact with it through natural language, which is, the whole idea of few-shot learning, as we've talked about, and kind of just be able to give it very simple instructions and prompts and get your generated output back. And all of the compute, all of the engineering is kind of handled on the OpenAI side. So you're just paying for a subscription service, basically. And now, as you mentioned, there's sort of added bonuses of fine-tuning or different things. And so you can kind of be closer to the engineering if you want to, but it's also okay to be someone who is less comfortable with that and more comfortable working through the natural language interface. So
that actually makes it probably an unprecedented API in the sense that you can ask it what you'd like it to do in natural language.
Right. And that was really the goal with, or what we realized with this few-shot learning and actually being able to have this work pretty well is that it does enable this type of technology in kind of a new way that we hadn't seen before.
Cool. Yeah, so it's conceivable that in the future, probably not even in the distant future, if you're okay with some inaccuracies, you could have a system like this working for somebody who has no programming experience at all via an audio interface.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All of the technology for that exists. You could have, there already exist algorithms that at a very high accuracy, like Siri on an iPhone or any Apple device, will convert the audio waveforms into text. And then once you have that text, it can go into the OpenAI API. And then the API can bring you back results, but then why not speak it? Because we have that technology too.
Yeah.
So, wow. Cool. Speaking of inputs and outputs, in addition to GPT-3, the API access also provides you with access to codecs, which converts natural language to code.
Yep.
So how practical is that? How often does that actually work properly?
So that portion of the API came up after I had left OpenAI and gone to grad school, so I don't have personal experience with it. I think I'm really excited to see where that kind of technology goes, because I think there's a lot of daily programming tasks that, at least for me as a programmer, I will Google something, find someone else who wrote it, and fill that into my code with maybe some modifications. And I think that's that's sort of the idea of codecs, is kind of like skipping that Google step, that you can kind of like fill in this stuff in your code that's like pretty standard, used across a bunch of different use cases. And again, sort of like what we were talking about with creative writing, like having that tool, that pair programmer that you can work with, that's sort of very good at specific things.